All right, we're back.
You have to come out the closet.
Nope. Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 47. This week, it was Tyler's pick, and he picked Valerie and her Week of Wonders from 1970.
Hey, I need to say something real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I got a powered USB splitter, Mav, and it's amazing.
There you go.
One
This
port.
episode.
One port turned into like 6, but it's nice.
Sponsored by USB Splitter. Thanks for sponsoring, guys. I
I don't even know the name of it. It was just the
yeah.
one.
So anyway, Valerie and her Week of Wonders from 1970, which you said reminded you of The Wicker Man, which I would agree with you. There were parts that did remind me of The Wicker Man. Biggest difference, though, between The Wicker Man and this movie is I like The Wicker Man.
Yeah. The Wicker Man was watchable.
I didn't like this one so much. I'm not gonna give it a harsh of a score as Maverick's gonna give it, I think, but I'm gonna give it a 3. That's what I'm gonna rock with it.
Really?
Yeah,
How-
because there's
You're gonna need to explain.
I'll tell you. There's parts that I like. So Maverick, why don't you? Well, we'll save you, Tyler. What are you giving your pick? Blind
I can't
pick.
rate. Yeah, I can't rate this movie. And the main reason is because I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
I liked the movie. Like, I watched it all the way through, but I can't say if there was a story or not. It was like looking through like someone else's grandma's like photo album.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of images and things going on, and you
glad-
have no fucking clue what's going on.
We'll
And I'm
talk
like,
about it more, but I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
So, like, I'm gonna say it's worth a watch, but at the same time, I'm not gonna give it a number because I would give it like a 0, and I think it's just because I didn't understand any of it. So, I mean, I get it. Like, it was supposed to be like it jumps around in the story and it's showing like her version of everybody, but then they try to make that into a story also. So, and I just got lost.
Burped. Yeah.
So all the people look the same to me. I still think Maverick looks like the priest who
Is that the one
the one who
we'll talk about it, yeah. Okay, I couldn't know, and then I was like, is this the guy he's talking about? But I didn't. Anyway, Maverick, what are you gonna give this one?
This is gonna join the club of a 0 for me.
Oh.
I did not finish this movie. I got 55 minutes in and
missed the best
decided
part.
sleep.
You did
sleep
miss the
was
best
more.
part.
Sleep was
What are
it wasn't
you-
worth it.
What are you doing, Tyler?
There's nothing in there that they could have had fucking.
Oh.
I'm trying to tap my juice down. Sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing in that movie that could have made me want to watch it to the very end.
Did you see the point with the guns?
Yeah, Tom Cruise showed up.
I saw they stuck guns through like some window and started like flintlocks and started shooting.
Well, yeah.
I was asleep by then.
Yeah.
That movie put me and my 2 dogs in
Not
the
the
dirt.
2
We were
dogs.
sleeping.
Euthanize them.
Yeah.
It's a euthanizing movie.
We were out like a light.
Yeah.
The only good thing about this movie was the soundtrack.
We're gonna,
Like,
I assume that'd be the one thing you hated.
no, they were good. They were good lullabies. Like I said, I went to fucking
Hey.
sleep.
all right. Well, Valerie and her Week of Wonders.
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning for
Spoiler
this movie.
warning.
First off, best part about this movie is the music. Maverick is correct. The music
Yeah.
is amazing in this movie. It's great. I loved it. It's one of the reasons that's why it gets a 1 so far. It's got 1 point for the music. So shout out to the music.
This movie is not worth the watch. Don't do it. I don't care what these two say.
Whoa!
Do not waste your time. It is not worth it. It's
So-
dog shit.
I'm gonna point out something. We're 3 guys watching a movie about a girl's becoming a woman and facing the realities of what that entails. So for
And then like
half the
60s
population,
or 70s or some shit.
half of no, Flintlock pistols like
Yeah, who knows when the fuck this was
17.
dated?
Did they? This was made in the 70s, but they tried to make it like way farther
like a
back, right?
Renaissance piece, yeah.
Yeah,
Motherfuckers with the flintlocks and shit.
flintlock.
But I think we're like not the right gender for
I
the
don't.
movie.
I don't think women would.
They
Good.
didn't do it.
I don't really think the whole like
So
her
I'm gonna
becoming a
explain this to
woman
y'all.
thing would. Okay.
I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna hit y'all up with some craziness.
Oh
here.
yeah.
So my theory is that every person in there represented a different like threat or like emotion that affects a woman when she's growing up. Like the priest was like dirty old men, right? And like the mom was like jealous rival women. Or not mom, grandma, sorry.
Yeah, grandma, please. Because
The
the mom's a
polecat.
whole another thing.
Yeah. The polecat is supposed to be like the snake in the grass, like dudes that will just tell you stuff to try to sleep with you. Eagle Bert or whatever the fuck his name was.
Eaglet or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Which then,
I
if you
think-
look this movie up, he's not even credited as Eaglet. His name's like Ornix or some shit.
But I think he's like the good guy, right? Or something. Like he's like the guys that are like your best friend and good, but then you can't be with them or something. I don't know. But like I think everyone has like a weird little
I
role.
don't know.
Don't
I
ask me why
like-
they were vampires and shit. Like,
I was just like, if we were gonna watch a period movie, I would have rather watched fucking Carrie. Like,
Yeah,
Carrie
Carrie.
has a lot to do with just
10 out of
period and becoming a woman and shit. But anyway, hey, by the way, talk about the elephant in the room, which is so this lady becomes a woman, right? At the age of 13, just like her mother. They make sure to say that right off the bat. This lady is 13 in the movie. So every time you see the titties and the booty, 13-year-old titties right there.
That was 13-year-old?
Yeah,
No
that-
way.
I can't wait for the FBI to come just crashing through my window.
Like, I was like, oh, this lady's like 20 or something, playing
Yeah,
a 13-year-old.
she looked
And then
older.
when I was doing my little research, it was like, nah, she's 13. And I was like, oh, okay,
These
well,
motherfuckers was kissing her and shit. Like, ew.
a lot of,
FBI.
yeah. Which,
Well,
There was like a lot of like lesbian undertones to that.
There was that. I got that a little bit.
And I still don't know what the deal with the earrings were. Like the pearl from the earrings kept saving people and turning them into animals.
I don't fucking know.
But I was like, what, huh?
Yeah.
And, like, that's why I can't get this movie. Or I like I said, I didn't understand.
So,
it.
yeah, Tyler said, so this movie seemed like a bunch of scenes packed together that didn't really have a storyline. Like, it was just random shit that, like, didn't, like, I don't know. And then, so, my voice. So, there's a part in this movie about 10 minutes in or something where it cuts to the church and it's blasted fucking organ music and shit. And I went, oh no, oh no. Because I have flashbacks to Nosferatu. Go check out the Nosferatu Overtime if you haven't already. And I was like, oh fuck, Nosferatu, goddamn. And then this movie ended up being like a vampire movie. And I was like, oh shit. And it had like the same shit as Nosferatu, where there was like a plague going on and shit. And there were rats. And I was like, oh fuck.
a lot
but-
of chicken.
Kakashi?
Stop. A lot of chickens. Yeah, but
thing they called a polecat, but it was really just a ferret.
yeah, a ferret or whatever.
Is that a
which
different name for a ferret? And I just don't know it.
I don't know. Once again, you mentioned it. So Nosferatu. The whole time we were like, everyone in this movie looked the fucking same. I couldn't tell who the fuck was it, because someone would die in this movie, and I'd be like, oh, they're dead. And then they'd be there again, but they'd be called a different name. And I was like, is this a different guy? Like, I could have sworn there was like 7 fucking different white-faced dudes who they all called, like, you know. So
Well-
the main white-faced dude was like the constable, right?
Yeah, but he was everybody else.
Is that what, yeah?
That was her dad, who ended up being like the huntsman, who ended up being like that's why he kept having that face on a stick.
Yeah.
Is because he would change who he was, and then he ended up being the polecat also.
Which, but then there was that dude in the church who had like a black face, and he was up there like smiling. And
I
he
think
was
that
the one being
same
like,
guy.
bless your loins and your breasts and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's like making breasts, and like
Yeah.
it's real creepy. I will say though, I dug the creepy just the smiles that these dudes would have.
Crooked ass teeth, boy.
Yeah, weird like the vampire teeth were like they were just jagged like crooked ass teeth.
They were almost like the teeth from Nosferatu, not the regular vampire teeth.
Yeah,
But later on, you have a woman who's a vampire, and she has
and
like
she has the real classic.
the classic one. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and so I'm like, what? And yeah, I don't know. I was so confused. There's also like there's the part where the main Valerie the whole time is creeped out by fucking white-faced dude, right? And every time he pops up, the movie kicks off, by the way, with the eaglet or whatever stealing the girl's earrings and then like running away, and then she comes out and she's like, "Who's there?" And then it pans over and it's like, "Ah!" He's like there smiling, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "That's creepy as fuck. What's going on?" And so he's always there smiling. So she's freaked out by him all the time. She's walking down an alley. He comes up behind her and like spreads his cape.
Yeah.
And like and she's not scared or anything. She's like,
No.
"Oh, father, what are you doing?"
Chilling.
And also, he's got a dog in the robe somehow,
Yeah.
which I don't know how he was holding that dog.
No, it's like attached to his chest, like
Oh,
a
yeah?
little baby carrier. And I have no clue what the fucking point of that dog was. 'Cause
I
it was
don't
there
either.
always.
Yeah. It was there always. Oh,
It
man.
was fucking weird.
There's the annoying point in this movie, and it's in the beginning. The scene you're talking about, where Eaglet and it's her father, but I don't think calling her father is like, it's Eaglet and the, fucking what would they call
The
him?
constable is what they call them.
Yeah,
but-
the constable are in top of a barn, and they do this whole thing where like the guy jumps down, and the guy's
Yeah.
like, bend over so I can land on your back. And they do that, and they go, ha ha ha, and they go right back into the barn, but the lower section. And I was like, why the fuck did they jump down, like,
Yeah.
to begin with? Like, oh, they're throwing out dead chickens or something.
What possessed you to pick this movie, Tyler?
It's supposed to be a cult classic. A lot of the horror people love it.
Where you Google search this, or someone tell you to look it up?
No, it's just whenever you're looking through horror stuff, it always pops up.
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a weird.
I'll jump in
thing.
real fast. Like, this movie's shit. I don't think it's good at all. But, like, Maverick has this thing where he's like, no one talks about it. People talk about, like, movies and shit. Even though we'll be like, these are shit. Why are they talking about them? But, like, people talk about them. It's not like a... what was that fucking Last House on the Left? I remember I picked it. Maverick's like, no one talks about this movie. And it's like, yeah, people know this movie. So, like, people know it. I don't know why they would fucking watch this movie, though.
Well, they just remade the Last House on the Left, right?
They remade it, like, 20 years ago.
No, I swear they had a more recent one.
Oh.
94, I think.
No, I think they made it in like 2006 or something. They
Yeah,
remade it when like
something
all
like that.
those gory remake, like Hills Have Eyes and everything was coming out.
But this movie's supposed to be pretty great. Like all the
2009.
horror people love it.
2000,
so-
shout out 2009, a better time.
Like I said, I wish I would have picked the other movie. I told Tom. That, like,
yeah, They Live is
7
fucking
minutes
badass. I'm sad we didn't watch it. There's a part, there's a whole bunch, once again, reminds me of The Wicker Man. With just there's a bunch of sexuality in this movie that we'll get into more. But there's a lot of just random shots of women like giggling and like but it starts right off with like women in the stream just shoving fish down her
Yeah,
dress.
they're in this river in dresses, like and
Yeah.
they're just like playing around, and they're putting. I never saw what it was, but they're putting like something.
Yeah, it
on
was a
their
fish.
dresses.
It was.
I just
live
found it
fish,
weird.
so it would like tickle their
Yeah.
parts on the way down.
It was weird that they were fully dressed in a fucking river, and I was like, I thought y'all like take a bath or something. They're like, I'm washing me in my clothes. I'm washing me in my clothes. I don't know if y'all saw.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
You didn't do the thing where you're like,
Yeah, I'm not in the bathtub, dude.
Also, this movie has like the quickest love story I've ever seen where dude steals her earrings, gives them back to her, says, "Hey, I'm the one that stole your earrings. I'm having to work for the constable. He murdered my mother and dad. I hate him." And all this shit, right?
Loser.
I think the next time you see him, he's tied up in like town square. Uh,
Well, he says, "Leave a dress for me. I'll
Yeah.
see you at this meeting."
yeah,
And then he's like shackled up to the fountain with like the dress laying next to him.
Yeah.
that shit was. She
And-
goes up to him and like he's shackled, and she just pulls his arm out.
Yeah,
of the
pulls his
shackles.
arm out.
Like, wait, he
So-
could have just done that.
he's unshackled. He's like doing one of these things where he's like, and he's all weak and shit because he hasn't
Yeah.
been. And immediately he just goes in to try to make out with homegirl, and I was like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?" Like, and then he's like up walking around the fountain. He's like, "Oh, jolly, jolly, jolly," and
No,
then
he fucking teleports to the top.
Yeah,
of the
like-
He
statue.
does. Yeah, it was
and
quick.
I was like, "Okay,"
He was like,
With an arrow.
I'm up here now.
Yeah.
and then it was like the director was like, "What could we add to this scene to make it better?" I know. Let's add 8 shirtless men with whips. Oh no! Like,
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
like,
that's
first
awesome.
off, they're like whipping themselves,
Yeah.
and then they try to whip homeboy, and he runs into like the church, and he closes.
And
the
then one
door.
of the shirtless dudes does like parkour on the door. He just like runs up it
Yeah.
as the dude slams it shut. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
They lost me at that point. At that point, I was looking at fucking like, memes on my phone, scrolling.
Well, okay, I'm gonna be honest. This movie was hard to watch, but you had to watch it. You couldn't look away because everything's in subtitles.
It is in subtitles.
Yeah.
So,
I will-
in order to follow the story,
Yeah.
you have to watch it. To
I
read
did
it.
find myself at points looking at something else, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck they're talking." And like, I would have to go back, but yeah.
This movie is unwatchable in my opinion.
And then
You
like,
can't look at the screen and watch this movie without looking away for like another 10 minutes.
so then I think where is it? I have it written down. So then there's a part in this that probably is my favorite part of the movie. Yeah, I'll talk about it after this part because it's after this. There's a part where you see the grandma in front of the priest or whatever, and she's like ripping open her dress, and she's like, "I'll whip myself," and all this shit. And
That's the guy I think looks like Maverick. Or
okay,
Maverick
yeah,
looks
that
like.
guy. Okay.
I thought you were talking about the priest who came in with the candle and
That's the same guy. Yeah,
rips
same guy.
homegirl's shit open.
Yeah. And so then you have a white-faced dude, like, up on a ladder, I think, but then Eaglet, like, pushes the ladder and you go, ah!
Yeah, yeah.
That shit, and he falls. She's
Yeah.
looking through like a painting at her grandma. And if you notice, like the hole she's looking through is like
The
a hole the nipple in the painting. I
Yeah.
was like, why? Why?
And
you do this?
so I was like, oh shit, he just killed homeboy straight off. But then I don't know if that was just a guy or if that was the same guy that keeps like, I don't know who that guy was that fell off the ladder. Like, I'm not sure. But it leads in to also we find out that the grandma knows this white-faced dude, and that's like his real name's Richard.
Richard.
And they were like lovers a long time ago, and they
She was
fucking
17.
yeah, and she does this thing where she promises to like give the dude the house if she can like get her youth back and all this shit.
What can y'all explain to me?
What's up?
So, I don't know nobody's names. So, homegirl thinks that there's a guy that's in love with her, but
Yeah.
she says they're brother and sister, and that is wrong because he tried to kiss her. And then he's like, "Nah, what's his name? Isn't my dad? Homeboy is my dad."
Yeah.
And then she runs off. Can y'all explain this to me? 'Cause
Well,
I didn't understand.
Then
shit.
later they're like, "Oh no, that is your brother," and then at the end of the movie, spoiler, I think they like get married, or like, and I was like, what? And she like knows that that's her brother, and so I was like, what is this? But then at the same time, she's like already made out with her dad at that point.
yeah, her
Already
dad,
made
like,
out with her mom when her mom. She's
Like,
like,
kissed
"Mom."
So the first thing is this whole movie's a dream. None of this movie is like.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Is that what
That's
you
why
think
it's
the
so-
ending means?
That's why everything's so weird because you know how your dreams are like kind of convoluted or whatever.
Yeah.
But what it is that her dad was supposed to be this priest, and then Seagull's dad, Eaglet,
Eagle,
her brother, his dad was supposed to be the constable. So he was like, my dad's a constable. I hate him, but he's my dad or whatever. So that's why they're like, oh, we can fuck, you know. But none
I
of
thought
it
you said
was
he
real.
killed his dad and mom though.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I wrote it
I
down
don't
anyway.
remember.
Anyway, so the dude has the whole talk with the grandma where he's like, "You'll get your youth back at midnight or whatever," and then she's like, "You devil," and I was like, "Bitch, you just made the fucking like you're the one who signed up." So then she walks away. Homeboy does the coolest shit I've ever seen, where he just whips the goddamn fountain, and the fountain just catches on fire, and it's like, oh, 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 oh. It's just
Fuck.
playing like this, and I was like, that's crazy as fuck. That's point two. Is that scene right there?
Well, I'm so glad I didn't finish this. I'm so glad I got that extra like 30 minutes of sleep. Oh my god,
Listen,
this movie is unwatchable.
he whipped a fountain.
A water fountain and it caught on fire. That's crazy.
Hell yeah, dude.
There's a couple good scenes in this movie.
Well, so also what? So then the dude you say looks like Maverick comes in and tries to fuck Valerie. And
Well,
then
he comes in and her titties are already out,
Yeah, she's like getting undressed or some shit.
and
Yeah.
she's very young. So
13.
It's a really weird. And he has like a candle, and he's like,
yeah. Oh yeah, I
he
forgot
rips
about
his
Jazz.
shirt
He's like,
Uh,
yeah,
What I want from you is really sweet. And I was like, crazy.
yeah.
that's the thing that I was like, this is Maverick. It looks. They just have the same like hair situation.
Yeah.
He had
And,
this little like jaunt he did, a little strut, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Damn, go ahead, play it."
Yeah.
Thing.
and yeah, and he
To be
tries to
fair.
like, what's up?
I was gonna say that guy looked like Maverick. He was probably the coolest guy in the movie, though.
He was pretty cool.
He had
it's
a
kind of a
mole
compliment.
that like
Wow,
on his
no.
face that I kept looking at.
There was that other dude with the mustache who would just
Fucking
run
Austin
up to like
Powers.
those
A
three
mole,
chicks. Who would just run up to like them three chicks and was like making out with them and shit. Also,
That
I
was
think
one
he
of the
pops back up
shirtless
at the
guys,
end of the
right?
movie, yeah. Which we'll talk about the end of the movie, but yeah, and so he tries to bang Valerie, and then I don't know what the fuck happened, but he's just in the middle of hugging her, and then what have you done? I was like, did I miss like her?
She like wraps herself in the curtains and then like passes out.
Yeah,
And he's like, "Oh no, better lay her in the bed and then fuck off."
yeah, and then
he
she
leaves.
he leaves, and then instantly the next scene she's all happy again.
Like the next morning or some shit.
Yeah, and then I think is when you get the scene where the girl who's marrying that landowner dude, they're about to bang, and then randomly the grandma and the vampire dude come, and like the grandma comes and bites the girl's shoulder, and it goes like and then they go away, they vanish, and Valerie's somehow watching all this from her bedroom, which I was like, I don't know what's going on.
You get that scene of a homeboy that tried to rape homegirl, hung himself. He's just hanging from like a window by a rope.
Yeah, he hung himself. He's alive again at the end of the movie. He just pops up in the casket, and she's like, "Hey, eat this peach."
And she like frees him. She leaves. him
Yeah,
out.
she's like, "No,
"Follow
come
me
with
out."
me." Yeah, I was like, "What?"
Wild.
Also, so then all this happens, and then fucking Eaglet is in a lake. He's like chained
river.
up in a lake or a river, whatever, and the stream's going over his face, and she has to free him again. But it just cuts to that dude in a lake or a river.
Yeah, it's a popular form of like water torture they used back in the day.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that was it.
When the dude's dead or whatever, or when you think he's dead, the guy who tried to bang Valerie, you get a cool ass shot of the grandma in the casket, and she's like, and I was like, oh shit! Shout out to
All right.
shout out to the vampire and the yeah.
The scene that I like and I don't understand
Okay.
is like she was underneath those gears and she was like laying on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You will die, Valerie." And then you have like the gun come through the window, and then the second one.
The second
You're like,
one was like, oh
Wait,
shit.
what?
And then it shoots, yeah. And then you're like, okay. And then
But she had.
it cuts back in, and Eaglet's on top of a bookshelf, like, my
Yeah.
beautiful girl playing this.
Yeah, and he's just serenading this hoe.
Yeah.
And she's got the two guns above her head.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's cool.
in that scene, she got kidnapped by her. Was that her grandma, right?
Yeah.
She wakes up underneath the gears, unties herself, and starts walking around. But then goes back and lays back underneath it, and then just like goes to sleep, like nothing ever. Like I was so confused.
And then there's
So
Go ahead.
I saw something that was supposed to represent a music box, and she's the ballerina for when like you open the box and the ballerina dances. She was the ballerina stuck at the bottom of the box. And I read that and I went, man, these motherfuckers high. Like I was like, where did you get this from? Like I was like, what?
People
I guess
who,
because
like,
the mechanism and the music was supposed to be that.
I
that's
hate
a reach.
like if we go back to Lake Mungo, y'all didn't like it, and I talked about how I looked up all this shit, and then it was like all this like the brother killed her and you know all this stuff. That stuff I like, where it's like trying to show you what's beneath the surface. Shit like that though I hate, where it's like, well, this is supposed to be she's in a music box, and I'm like I don't want to fucking like I'm gonna be in the theater. Oh, this is a music box, people.
Yeah. They reach like it's when they reach really hard for some dumb shit like that I'm like, why?
Well, some of it is pretty
Why?
obvious, right? Like in the beginning when she's walking and she just bleeds on a flower,
Bleeds on the flower, yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay, that's easy.
Um,
And then other things are not so much.
there's a part where the grandma somehow betrays Richard, the white-faced dude, and she's like, "You're gonna die," or whatever, and she leaves. And then Valerie shows up, and she's like, "You're not gonna die," and she bites the head off of a chicken or something, or bites the neck of the chicken, whatever. And she like kisses dude, so then the blood will go in, and then
Fucking
he's like,
French kisses that motherfucker.
and then his face, it's her dad or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, father," and then they're like, and they make out again, and then he pulls back, and then he's the fucking white-faced dude again, and he's like, ah, like,
Well, no, her dad and the white faced dude are the same guy,
yeah,
but he could just change between those two. One's like his young form, and the other's his old form,
yeah.
or something.
But then he like attacks her again, and she runs away.
Now it's important to note, now that we're like halfway into this,
Uh-huh.
that the guy who made this movie never wanted it released.
Yeah.
He made this movie as like a project just for himself. Now,
That's kind of creepy.
in my days, if you're a man and you make a movie for yourself and it has minors in it naked,
Yeah.
that's a felony.
Yeah.
You know,
Is a
like,
felony.
Yeah. And
So-
yeah, so she runs away, and then the next shot, she like wakes up, and this is when she's just like, oh, and she just starts eating apples, like off the fucking ground or whatever. And I'm
well,
like,
they have her laying on a bed of apples.
yeah.
or something, and I'm like, what?
And then,
Why are they wasting
yeah,
apples?
and then Valerie meets. Is it the girl who got married to the landowner? Or is it just a random girl?
Her name is Heidikin or something.
Okay, and she meets her, and then they kind of bang, or at least they allude to it, and they're
They
like,
show him in bed and kiss
yeah,
him.
and like they're banging, and I'm like, all right, I guess this is happening. And then right after that, the priest who's back alive, who Valerie had just freed from the casket, is in the center of town telling everyone she's a witch, and so they burn her. And there's a shot of like the little girl like
My favorite
reaching
part.
out and giving like the flower to her, and I'm like, she's tied down, she can't get that flower, like. But so then thinking, because the movie's short, it's only an hour 16 minutes. Boy, did it feel longer. I'm like, oh, this is the end of the movie, you know. And then I'm like, damn, this is like Wicker Man. It was spoiler, but you know, burning this bitch up, you know. So they burn her. Then the next thing you know, she's like sitting by a door, and I was like, how did she survive the burning? Like, and then I was like, was it the pearl? Somehow
Yeah.
did the pearl like? Yeah, and what was your favorite part? Go ahead. You were gonna say.
The whole thing where she's a witch and she's like, he's a liar. And then they tie her up to the thing and he was like, admit you're a witch. And she's like, you furry faced something.
Yeah,
And all that stuff. And she's like just smiling and looking so crazy.
yeah.
I'm like, this is good stuff.
And then we get the real greatest moment of this movie, which is Valerie then goes down into this basement, and they're having like a vampire orgy party thing, which so, and you get the thing where that guy I mentioned with the mustache, who was like, you know, banging those girls or whatever, he's down there banging more girls, and then Valerie sneaks down and drops her pearl into the dude's wine.
Goblet. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he starts drinking it, and the grandma's like, "Drink deeply, my love," or whatever. And I'm like, "Are y'all back on good terms now? You were just like leaving him for dead, you know, a minute ago." And so he's drinking it, and then the guy's getting up with a knife, and he fucking does a full on like and lunges at him. But the guy chokes on the poison or whatever, and he falls out. You never see what happens with the guy, like where the guy went when he charged. Yeah. So he drops down, and you get the greatest facial expression of any movie of all time, which is this one woman who goes,
yeah.
like that.
And it's weird angled where you see like,
yeah.
Oh.
And my God, I was like, holy shit. 0.3, boys. That was 0.3, was that facial expression. And yeah, and so I'm like, damn, so the dude's back, or the dude's dead, or whatever. I'm like, cool. Then, the next morning, the grandma's back to normal. You know, and I'm like, oh, maybe the spell's broken, because Nosferatu, you know, they had the whole thing where he had the power over all these people, and then when he died, you know, they became free, or whatever. And so I'm like, maybe the spell is broken. But then, he's back. He's alive again at the end, and he's like, has the dad's face on. And this is when the mom is like, oh, I'm your mom. And she's like, mother. And they make out and shit. But then the guy goes back to the vampire face when they're at the party at the end or whatever. But I'll talk about randomly, in the middle of this, they pull the fucking Cannibal Holocaust on us, which I typed in chat, where they just have a video of a mongoose or the polecat or whatever, and a chicken fighting, and then homie just blasts him with a shotgun, and I was like, what the fuck? And the lady's like, don't shoot, and he blasts it, and the fucking polecat's like twitching on the ground, and then he aims in the field and shoots another one of the fucking white-faced dudes, and I was like, where did he come from? And yeah, and so then they have another, like, this part reminded me of the Wicker Man, and I think in the Wicker Man we talked about how the Wicker Man reminded me or us of Midsommar. The ending of this kind of reminded me of Midsommar too, where then they're just like walking around this forest all singing and playing songs, and people are fucking, and like they surround the girl, and she like lays on her like child bed. It's one of them little, like, it's got the fucking rails at each end and shit. And she goes to sleep. Or not goes to sleep, but she lays down. Then all of a sudden she's, like, alone in the forest. And that's how the movie ends. There you go. Also, real quick, just for the ending, plays, like, this little... Dun, 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 like, it reminded me so much of how The Wall ends. Where it just plays that little... Dun, 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 play a little out. So shout out to that. But there you go. That's how Valerie and her Week of Wonders ends.
So here's the problem with this movie.
All right.
Is that I think if you watched it for a second time, you would understand a little bit more.
I don't know.
I'd kill myself before I watch this movie ever again.
You have to watch it a second time.
Yeah.
So this is torture. It's actual torture.
It's so, like, just mixed and jumbled up of stuff, which almost makes me, like, you say it's a dream. I'm not really 100% sure it is, but it, like, almost, like, because a dream, you will just go from one shit to, like, another, and, like, it almost seems like that. So, yeah, like, I don't know.
Like I said, it's a weird dream, like, jump around, Pulp Fiction-y type movie.
Jump around.
Because apparently the timeline's changed, too. Like... It's not in sequential order to where the first scene you're seeing isn't necessarily the first scene of the movie. It's just the first one you're seeing. Well, I guess the first one is the first one. Because, you know.
Yeah, but fucking, what is he doing? He muted his mic, so we can't even hear anything he's saying.
This is how I watch this movie.
Sucking a big
Oh,
blow.
Fucking
yeah.
sleep. I'm gonna
Okay.
fall. Oh shit!
Fall
I'm
in
leaning
love with
back
this
so
movie.
far.
Thanks for the wave. You know, like,
Yeah, like we didn't know. Yeah.
So my mic can't
Um,
reach.
and like, yeah, I don't. But the thing is, I'm pretty like, Pulp Fiction has like sections where you're like, okay, this is what's happening now.
so
But this just it was all like I didn't know where was the start or the end or the middle.
I think the key is the pearl. I think if you follow the pearl or the earring, that's what like leads the story. That being said, that shit would just pop up magically in someone's hand.
Yeah,
So, like I said,
it was so hard. Like yeah, and one of the things where like Nosferatu, we talked about it, how we just like I was like I don't know what the fuck's happened. But there's one thing where Nosferatu is silent and like there's no words, so it's like you just have to try to figure. This one had words, like dialogue. You should kind of be able to tell where you're going. But
no, like we watched his subtitles because this is a Czech film, but I'm
It's
pretty
a-
sure they're
yeah,
speaking
it's-
Italian or Spanish. So,
I don't know. It's yeah. So it was subtitled as fuck. Shout out to that. Is this only? How many subtitle movies have we done? We did Fourth Kind, not Fourth Kind.
well,
Fucking Train to Busan, Wild Zero.
is Nosferatu supposed to be a subtitle?
I don't think that counts. Is that it? Have we only done 2 foreign movies that had subtitles?
I had a third picked out.
That can't be it. What?
I said I had a third picked out. This next movie I was gonna pick, it was gonna be a animated Train to Busan. The next one that wasn't the Peninsula, but it didn't look good, so I'm not gonna pick it.
Okay.
So 2. This is what you're saying.
All right, well, shout out number 3 subtitle movie. I swear we did another one,
Let me think.
but I guess not. Think.
That weird movie when they're under the ground and they go in the alternate dimension in hell.
That was English
Was it?
though.
It wasn't
Yeah.
subbed.
I thought there was a bunch of people who didn't speak English in it, and they would had subtitles.
The
doesn't
thing, the thing was, I remember when we went into that movie, I said I thought it was like an Italian movie or whatever, but it wasn't. Because in the beginning of that movie, you're like, I brought my reading spectacles and everything.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
like, hey guys, this isn't in this, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, so get fucked me thinking it was a subtitle.
I'm trying to pull it up right now
Um,
to look.
What? Just look at the movie.
Yeah.
Why you do that? I won't ask Maverick this question, but best of worst of. My best of would have to be dude whipping the fountain and the fucking fire and the the music is what sells it. The music is amazing. Whoever I should have looked up, but I couldn't pronounce his name even if I did. Who did the score for this shit? But it's amazing. Worst. Ooh, there's so many to choose from. Worst. I don't know. Probably just the fact that I just couldn't figure out what was going on. Like there was just no like cohesive story that I could figure out. So, shout out to that. Tyler, what's your
My favorite
Best
scene
of.
is the one with the 2 guns or whatever. Well, no, her being on the bonfire. Her on the bonfire. I don't know why, but I was like, you.
I thought it was cool until she started doing the whole "you're a big furry rat" and she like makes
Did
a
a mustache.
fucking mustache.
Yeah, with her hair.
Yeah, something about that. I was like, eh.
The worst part about this movie is, again, I don't think the movie's bad. I think just we don't understand it. I don't think like, I'm sure if you watch like director commentary, well, you wouldn't understand because it's still in a different language. But if you had some way of watching this and having it explained to you at the same time, it would all make sense.
That's
I don't-
because that's
yeah.
what you want when you watch a movie. Some fuck telling you what you're looking at.
I mean, sometimes.
Like I'm not. Yeah, Maverick hates that shit. I'm for it sometimes, but stuff like this, I'm like, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah,
different strokes for different folks, I guess, you know.
yeah. Like yeah,
But like the timelines, like you couldn't figure out when stuff was happening. I wish
yeah. I couldn't figure out if people were dead or
I wish
alive.
they like gave her a scar that got like bigger, like and smaller based on when it happened in the story or something. And
Yeah.
they might have, and I just don't know what signified that. It could be like a noise in the background, clock chiming, and I just missed it. So, but I don't know what all the hubbub is about this movie. There was nothing scary. It wasn't really psychological at all. I don't know. I mean, we argue this whole horror movie thing. This isn't a horror movie. This is as far from it as you can get. This is just a weird movie. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If someone
I
said this was their favorite horror movie, I'd be like, I don't think you like horror movies.
don't know.
There was
I think
scary.
That
in
lady
this
in the
movie.
coffin, maybe jump scare.
My lights flickered.
So
Anyway, what were you saying?
I was saying this is classified as horror because it really doesn't have any other genre. I mean, it's barely a love story. It's barely a movie, to be honest with you.
When
but-
you look it up, they call it like a new wave movie.
yeah. Well,
So-
Also,
to be
fuck is
fair,
that?
I pick a lot of new wave stuff.
yeah.
So like
I'll-
Mandy's that, and what's the other one?
Beyond the Black Rainbow.
I really love that one too.
Yeah, that's the other one.
I don't
that
think
he-
you finished that one.
That's
yeah.
I think that's the second one that he was like, I'm not gonna give this one a score. He's like, it doesn't deserve a score. Hey, fun fact: the fucking eaglet and the homegirl got married, so they're still together today.
Well, I'm sure one of them's dead by now.
No, both still alive and kicking. Shout out. They're only like
65.
65, yeah, when you look it up. I think the dudes are older because he wasn't fucking 13 when he made this movie.
I just think if I made this movie, I would have the dignity to kill myself.
God damn. There was something else I wanted to say. I can't remember.
Kodak's
Yeah.
got a new music video out. Solid.
Who?
Kodak,
Oh,
Black.
yeah. Shout out. Let me drive the boat.
It's the homie. Let me try. Let me try the boat.
Yeah. I saw one of those memes the other day. It killed me. I don't remember what it was. But shout out to that. Anyway, I think that's about it for this one.
And the movie's great.
Yeah,
What
10
was
out
the
of 10.
overall score? Overall score?
Well,
I don't think this one gets a score. Like I said,
I
Oh,
gave
wait,
it
you
a
didn't
3.
even rate it, dude. Come
Well,
on, give it a number.
You
Tyler.
didn't rate it either. Oh, no,
Alright.
you put it on the 0.
all right, I will give it a 9.
Oh, my God.
Fucking, I'm out of here. I'm fucking out of here.
You can't rate it. It's like
Jesus
reading a book in a
Christ.
different language and be like, "Hey, is this book good?" And be like, "Sure."
It does not deserve a 9, and you know it.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
a no from me, dog.
Yeah. Don't.
Um,
Yeah,
We're not
tell
going to
me.
archive this movie. This does
Y'all
not go on the
cannot tell
cast.
me what I rate.
Oh, yeah.
I'm irate.
Yeah, I was about to use the same fucking joke.
This man does not. Tom, write it down. This man gave this movie a 3. Okay,
I'm
put it in the
wait,
books.
My next movie is gonna be even worse.
God damn. You gotta stop. Stop.
Y'all make fun of the movies I picked, dude. Come on.
Oh, the
Jesus
devil
Christ.
Devil Below is way worse than this movie. But this movie
It was watchable though. It was fucking watchable.
No, barely. But the Devil Below didn't have fun.
I'm
So
gonna
bad
watch
it's
this-
good. It
I'm
did.
gonna watch this movie again. I
No,
ordered the
no, not right
Blu-ray.
now.
And
Don't do it.
The next one we do next week, I'll tell you if it got any better watching it the second time,
Don't do it.
or I'll give it a rating at least. Just because it's like you can't. Like I said, I don't. It's really weird. I'm trying to think of another movie where like you don't understand it. Okay, super spoiler for The Sixth Sense, right? Or Lake Mungo. Same thing. We'll do Lake Mungo since we haven't, talked about whatever Sixth Sense yet. But you know how you're like that lady's in all those things, and you went back and looked and you saw her, and then you're like, it made the movie. I think this movie will have the same thing, but it will just be more coherent when you know what you're looking for. Who knows, man? I don't know.
All right, well, you
Kind of shit.
you enjoy watching this thing a second time.
Only an hour, right?
An hour 16 minutes, and you feel every minute of that shit. Next week, it's Maverick's pick. Maverick, you gotta redeem yourself from Double Low, buddy. I'm rooting for you.
Let's think of all the movies real quick while Maverick's Googling what to pick. Let's think real fast.
I already know what I'm picking, asshole.
What's Maverick's last 5 movies that he's picked?
Devil Below.
All right.
The Wretched.
Wretched. I don't even remember the movies I picked, so good luck.
You didn't make it for that one.
It wasn't Devil Below. It was Devil Below, and then there was something before that because the Devil Below was the Critter movie, and we made him pick the other one before that. Remember?
Yeah, the other one.
Oh, the Attic. Stay out of the fucking
Oh
attic.
yeah, Stay Out of the Attic. So Devil Below. Stay out
Both
of the
of those
attic.
movies. Both of those movies. I went off the trailers. Okay, I just want to say I went off the trailers.
Willy's Wonderland.
That was a solid pick. Okay,
That was a terrible movie.
You can never go. Well, that's because I picked that because we went with the fucking his other movie that we watched previous.
The Wretched. So there's 4, and so number 5 was It Follows. It Follows wasn't bad.
That was a good one.
So anyway, shout that. So Maverick, next week, what are we watching?
Watching fucking Horns with old Danny
Daniel
Radcliffe, baby.
Yeah.
It's something a little bit more laid back. The movie drained me of my life. I swear to God.
Have you seen this movie?
I've seen Horns. Yeah, it's good.
I've never even heard.
Horns. Horns is the movie that Daniel Radcliffe made
2 hours
like
long.
right after Harry Potter.
It wasn't right after. He's a little bit older.
It was. I think it was pretty. And then he was like, "All right, I'm gonna do these obscure fucking, movies nowadays." It's that cover where he's got the devil. The devil.
Yeah,
I know the
it's
picture.
a solid movie.
I just remember seeing it and being like, nothing makes me want to watch this.
Well, hey, get ready to watch it next week for the Graveyard Shift movie podcast. All right, well, next week, Horns, starring
Danny boy.
Danny Boy, Harry Potter himself. Anyway, let's see. So, oh no, earlier this week, Overtime for Return of the Living Dead 3 came out. Go check that out if you haven't already. Another classic, classic movie. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Next week, what are we watching? Horns. That's it. Next week, Horns. Maverick, got any last words before we exit?
I've said don't watch this movie like 9 times already. What's one more, right?
There you go. One more. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next week.